Well, certainly, proud of the effort that the guys put in all week, and then anytime you get to play this game, to get a chance to win, it involves a lot of contributions, and we had that, and I think as a coach, you always appreciate that, and it was certainly a game where there's going to be things that we look at and that are positive, and we can build off of, and then automatically there's things that you know during the game, and I'm sure there'll be, when we take a look at the film, areas where we've got to clean up. It's one of those games, and what's great about the game is there is no script. It's how you react to different situations, and I thought the one thing that the guys did do was they stayed steady through that and kept playing. And so it was good to start this season. It was good to play, and want guys to enjoy that tonight, the victory, and then come back and continue to get better.
Paul, you've spoken in the offseason a couple of times about how you just wanted Graham to be more efficient, get guys involved, and make them better. You feel like he was able to do that tonight?
Yeah, I thought there was a lot of times where I thought he did. Protection was good. We had the one in the red zone where they got us, and yet I thought the protection was good, and I thought he was. I thought he saw things pretty well, and I thought a number of guys got involved. That part was good.
I was going to ask about that. The number of guys got involved, because DK's your most experienced receiver, but for the longest time he had a catch. What is that a sign of if the quarterback is spraying the ball around in your opinion?
Yeah, I think that it's it's always good when you take what they're giving you, and I thought that for the most part it felt like he was doing that, and I think too that I do believe that he's got a real confidence in a number of guys, so that also probably is indicative of that. And I think the same could be said for us as coaches. You've got that, so you're not having to necessarily formation guys into or out of positions. And so I think that will help him. And it's gonna. I think if we're going to be good in that area, that we've got to take what. That's always the case, right? You got to take what they give you, but it's going to take a bunch of guys. I think that's what I was looking for, and we're off to a start there. Didn't get the backs involved much. I think that was the way the game was going to play out. Didn't anticipate that a ton, but I think it was good to see a lot of guys do it.
All the first 7 minutes or so was a little sloppy with penalties and a drop and
Right.
punt returns. Do you expect that in some regards, just guys to be a little bit antsy, you chalk that up to just being overeager?
Yeah, to say that I expected, no. I don't know if it was the first two, but it seemed like the first 2 or 3 punt returns we've got a holding call, and we're backed up. And then, like you said, we've got, third down and it's a drop, and now those were the only plays for the offense. Those were plays. That is your first quarter, 3 and out, and then we had a couple of those penalties that we gave them first downs, and yet I am proud of the way he kept playing, and obviously a big play by Torch, but we absolutely got to be cleaner in those things that you control. And there's going to be others, I'm anxious to see kind of on Keanu's, kind of as coming through and going with it, and certainly, no guys who go out there and think, I'm going to try to drop the ball here. It's not that. But I think there are some, that's what's, in some ways that's what's great about this game. The guys are excited about it, and nerves are a real thing. You know that. And to get back in and starting the season and playing, part of you appreciates that they're not taking it for granted. Here we go, we get to play. But absolutely, we've got to continue to work and continue to improve, you know, individually and certainly as a team.
Steve?
Obviously, you didn't go in expecting what y'all have the 290+ plays, but did you enter the season thinking y'all had capability of maybe more splash plays, more chunk plays going into the season?
I think you always, you know, you're gonna need to do a lot of things, you know, and I think when you sit there and talk about, you know, chunk plays, I wouldn't say that necessarily, we've been fortunate, we've been able to hand the ball off and we've had some backs that those become chunk plays, and the other's a screen, you know, and got them in a pressure that the guys executed it well, and, you know, so anytime you get big chunks, it's good, but I don't think that you necessarily, I think they come when you play the game and guys execute. And it's not necessarily what type of play. I think they're all capable of being a chunk play if everyone's on point.
Coach, what kind of things have you guys done conditioning wise to have players ready to be blocking 90 yards downfield on a play like that? It seemed like there was always a big group of Badgers in the end zone at the end of both of those.
Yeah, better, right? I mean, you gotta play the play out. And, you know, certainly, you know, guys are working and, I think, you know, you gotta play and you play to the whistle, and there's an excitement too. I mean, guys, I think it shows too, you know, they've got, you know, they understand that you don't know what play is gonna be the big one. You know, I thought we saw it on the I thought Max Dolphy made a heck of a block on the interception return. You know, there was a lot of guys there and they played and played through the play, and that you always appreciate, but you should do it that way.
Paul, you talked about the Torch's big play. One, what did you know, from your perspective, what did you see in that play in terms of maybe what was key for him to get the pick? And was there any carryover, do you think, from, you know, that moment for the rest of the half?
Yeah, I think, you know, certainly was a play that I think sparked everyone, you know, and especially the way that drive had been going. And, you know, it's a credit to, you know, certainly Torch, you made the play, and yet every play is, it takes everyone to make those happen, you know, and I think that, you know, Jimmy does a great job of coaching, and those guys understand, you know, to find, it enables them to play, you know, play situations, but, you know what, he made a play, and he's, you know, he'd been doing that, right? And that was fun to see him continue it and start it off this year. And yet it's, I think it's a combination of everything, you know, when something happens well, it's, credit goes to the players first and foremost, but I think the coaches are putting them in position and teaching them how to play in those moments.
Back.
Paul, you were non-committal on who the backup was going to be on Thursday. What was it that gave Miles the edge to make him feel comfortable with him going in as the number 2 tonight?
Yeah, I just thought the way that kind of, it'd be good for him to get that work that we had tonight.
Kind of back to Torch a little bit. Obviously, he's your most experienced safety. Jen played a ton of safeties tonight. Does Torchio's role change, or does your depth change if Waller, who kind of had to come out, is going to be out for any length of time?
Yeah, it'll be interesting, you know, kind of anxious to see, you know, kind of what exactly, you know, happened and how Hunter is and what it'll be, and you know, Torch's role will be big, right? And it has been, and I think for a number, you know, one, the way he plays, but two, his understanding of everything, and he's a good one to play with. You know, there's a piece of it that I think that part as far as understanding, and like I said, it was good to see Preston get in there and do that, and yet, you know, you talk about experience and understanding, you know, Torch obviously has that. Kamoy, you know, certainly does some things and he goes in, but I think that's where Torch has a role in so many different ways, and hopefully, you know, Hunter's, it's not too bad.
Back.
Coach, is the energy to start a season for the players a little bit different coming into a night game, packed stadium at Camp Randall, rather than a midday start?
You know, I know guys were excited to play tonight, and and it was a good atmosphere. I don't know that, I'd like to think that anytime you get to play this game, it's pretty exciting. And yet certainly today, tonight, it was good, and we were all anxious to get going and to be able to play. It seemed like a long day today, but once we got over here and got going, it felt good to be back and get the season underway.
Well, I know I'm asking you this before you had a chance to watch the film, but from your vantage point, could you tell if Rams' footwork had carried over from the improvements you've seen this offseason?
Yeah, I'm, sure hope so.
Paul, you know, Riley, Ballman also didn't finish the game. Logan came in for him. You know, just can you talk a little bit about what maybe Logan brings to the table, and how do you feel about him if Riley isn't, you know, able to
Right.
play?
Well, it was, I mean, one, it was good, you know, whenever you get the chance to go in, and so you appreciate him being ready to roll, and get anxious to find out kind of what all it is with Riley and where that goes, but you know, they've come off of camp, and everyone's got a lot of work, and I'm anxious to see kind of how everyone did, but certainly Logan, you know, and it was, you know, everyone knows we're gonna need a lot of guys this season, and the more that you can count on to play, that's good for this team.
I have time for one more, Coach.
Paul, you've talked before about how Braylon has had a full off-season to train, to be able to watch his own film from last year. What else is noticeably different about him this season, and what stood out from your vantage point about the way he ran?
Well, I think, you know, I've always, you know, been impressed with him, kind of how he approaches every day. He's a worker, and you know, that hadn't changed, and what hadn't changed is that he expects a lot of himself, and yet goes about it by working. You know, what stood out, what's different, I think you hope it's just a better version of himself, you know, and continue to keep growing. You know, he's still relatively young at that position, but it's, I think he did some good things, obviously, and I'm not just talking about the big run, you know, and I thought the backs ran hard. It was great to see Chaz get in there and run, and, you know, I thought Isaac, you know, one kickoff return, that we had the one, and it was good to see him get, and kind of had some tough runs, I thought, and even Julius at the end, you know, getting some, that was good, but, you know, I appreciate Braylon, I know, because he's gonna continue to work, and we need that. All right, thank you, sir.